Welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. Join us for the latest in news, views, and conversation with community leaders. The Pulse of Spokane is brought to you in part by Homes for You, Well Dressed Walrus, and Spokane Firefighters Local 29. Now, put your finger on the Pulse of Spokane.
Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Pulse of Spokane. I hope you're having a great day. We have a really exciting show today when we come back after the break, but first, here's a look at the weather.
Good afternoon, Spokane. Today we have some sun over us with a high of 79 degrees. It will be in the low 70s and getting a little rainy as we progress throughout the week. During nighttime, we're going to see the temperatures drop down a little to the high 40s and 50s with some clouds and showers overhead. Some clouds over in Coeur d'Alene today with a high of 76 and a low of 50, and also some clouds in the valley with a high of 75 and a low of 51.
This is Looms Day in Spokane. We got about 40 firefighters and their friends and family handing out 40,000 cups of water as the day goes by.
It's a very good opportunity to see the public and support them and help them out and cheer them on during Looms Day.
It's one of the best things about Spokane is that we have these major events and the whole community comes together not just to participate, but to volunteer and show that they really care about our city and making our city look great.
This type of an event really is emblematic of Spokane because so many people get involved. We have 50,000 people probably running this race. Always has been a very huge event.
Right now we're at the corner of Broadway and Nettleton. It's the last water station before the finish, so people are pretty much dehydrated by the time they get to us. They really need our water.
The water stations are a vital part, especially on warm days like today. It's real important that we have the volunteers to help with that. Without the volunteers, Blooms Day wouldn't exist.
All up and down the course, there are people that are involved in this celebration. It really is a celebration of what Spokane's all about.
I'm Nikki Butler, and I'm a regional manager for STCU. My lunch buddy is Nicole.
I'm Brandy Schloss. I'm a regional manager at STCU. My lunch buddy is Angelina. She's grown up with me. I've grown up with her. To see her graduate will be a lot of fun.
Brandy and I have been lunch buddies since the girls were in second grade. It's great that STCU provides me with the opportunity to be part of Reach for the Future. We are committed to the children. We're committed to our community. I'm Nikki.
I'm Brandy.
And STCU is here for good.
Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you help your fathers and grandfathers. How many times have you seen them get a bigger workout just trying to get the equipment started? They crank, and never get started. We have a battery operated. You just throw that battery in, run it, pull the trigger, you're ready to roll. No workout, all fun, getting the garden done. Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you make your dad's day and your grandfather's day. Neighbors helping neighbors at River Ridge Hardware.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we're here with Jacquelin Maycumber. And so, Jacquelin, you are the minority floor leader for the Washington State House of Representatives. And you were saying that you just finished session at the end of April.
Yes.
So kind of give us an update. What have been the big issues in this past session?
Taxes, and more taxes.
Okay. So what all happened there?
You right now, as Washington State constituents, are paying more in taxes than you ever have before. We're booming, especially Spokane and Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
We're doing great. And so what's happening is we have the highest revenue we've ever had in the state of Washington.
That's exciting.
Huge. Billions and billions of extra dollars. The problem is we increased our spending 18%.
Oh.
So we had to come up with ways of paying for that.
Right.
And that's the problem when it comes to taxes.
Okay.
It really burdens the families and the concerns of the minute there's a recession. And we've all been through the 2008 recession.
Right.
But when you really overspend, you're going to have a problem in the future. And so we're looking at increases in property taxes.
Okay.
We're looking at an increase of gas taxes, and that's per barrel. So
Okay.
you're not going to see it at the pump, but you're going to feel it at the
Okay,
pump.
yeah, right.
So, I mean, there's going to be an increase of a lot of taxes
Okay.
that we need to be aware of.
And so you said 18%.
18%.
That's a lot for, you know, the median household income, I think in Spokane is around $45,000.
Mhm.
So 18%, what would that, you know, how much are we talking here?
I mean, it depends
for an
on where
average
you
family?
live. I mean,
Okay.
we did so when we talk about McCleary and education, and this is all connected. When we
Okay.
talk about these policies, they're
Okay.
all connected. We want to fully fund education, and McCleary did that. And what we did is we lifted the levy lid, which said the rich schools can go back and get more money for enhancements, but the poor schools who don't have that ability can't. And so now, if you live in an area that has the levy lift, you might be paying more in property taxes, but also your school system is going to be a lot better off than some of these poorer or minority or tribal schools.
And you know, rural school districts, especially in Eastern Washington, are already at a great disadvantage. I went to one of them. There are so many less resources and you have so many less opportunities. And when you are trying to go, you know, let's say to a four-year university or trade school, you might not look as great on a resume because you weren't able to take advantage of some of those opportunities that larger schools have.
I mean, some of even my own children, I have three children in public school, their curriculum or their ability to take certain classes aren't there.
Right.
When you're paying per pupil, you could have a whole family leave and your school will not be able to handle the change in the funding. So I am really concerned about education. I'm really concerned that we are not going to fund it equally, that it's not equal across the board funding now.
Okay.
And I am concerned about my families here in Eastern Washington being able to pay this increase in taxes. And I'm concerned about how the budget turned out at the last minute.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about that. Transparency, transparency, transparency. That's an issue.
Yes.
Talk about how the budget was passed and what all occurred.
Oh my gosh. So 104th day.
Okay.
It's the last minute, the end of session, and we get a 900-page budget. I mean, you could not sit there and read it if you wanted to, but my vote depends on what the people back home think.
Right.
And so they can't even get access to it. They don't have the ability to read it. And then I don't also have the ability to spend all night reading this policy.
Sure.
We should have an adequate time to review the policy before we pass it.
Absolutely.
And so when we talk about transparency, it was really just the way we passed what are called ghost bills, title-only bills. They have a title and nothing.
Okay.
And they're passing out of committee and they're going through the process, but you can't read it. And then on the 104th day of a 105th session, you have 900 pages to review.
Okay.
And that's what the people are going to pay for.
Right.
That's what the people are going to give their hard-earned money. Whether you know you're trying to put your kid through school or you're trying to go to college, I mean that's what you're doing. And so you should have the ability to read that. At the 104th day, we had 4 policies snuck in the back of the bill that didn't pass on the 103rd day.
Okay, so what were those for?
Oh, we have comprehensive sex education.
Okay.
It did not pass on the 103rd day.
Okay.
And so we snuck in a study at the end, at the back of the budget. Environmental justice, which some policy was good and some was not. And so what we did was we took that study and snuck it into the budget that would change GMA and SEPA and a lot of those permit regulations.
Okay.
And that did not pass the process.
Okay.
In addition, we have the income tax study. Unconstitutional. This people do not want it over and over and over again. We do not want an income tax in the state of Washington. We've voted on it. It does not pass the litmus test of the Constitution, and yet we're studying it again in the back of the budget.
Okay.
And so, and then the fourth and final thing is the Snake River Dam removal. Federal issue, not a state issue. It would increase 700,000 trucks on the road to get our agricultural products across the state, and yet we want to study it again. It's been proven not to increase salmon production. And yet all these studies separately are more than we put into veteran service officers in the state of Washington.
Okay, and you know, while we're on the topic of dams, what is the big push for removing the dams?
Well, and see, if you've read the studies, you would say it does not increase salmon production. The sediment would reduce some of those salmon beds. There's a lot of problems with it, and it also increases trucks on the road. So we've had, what I understand, is 11 studies, comprehensive studies done nationally and through the state, and now we want to study it again. It's It doesn't really make sense at this point. And the federal legislators have come back to Washington State and said, you have overstepped. You do not have the right to remove the Snake River Dam, and you're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. And so when you have your federal legislators saying this is not even your wheelhouse and it's going to hurt the salmon production, you got a problem. And it's $750,000 to make this study. We could literally buy the Camano Island spawning grounds for the salmon. You could literally buy the land for the spawning grounds for the salmon for the amount of money to study this idea for the 12th time. The 12th time.
And then talk a little bit about homeless, because the legislature just put a bunch of money towards the homeless. What was that number?
So overall, in the past few years, just in the Puget Sound area, from what I understand from state to local government, comprehensive, $1 billion.
Okay.
When you talk about such a large number, we need to now look at, okay, with $1 billion and we are not decreasing homelessness, we need to look at a comprehensive plan.
Sure.
Is it opiate abuse? Is it mental health? Is it affordability? We really need to look at it all together as a comprehensive plan.
And you know, we've learned that for so many, the drug and homelessness issue goes hand in hand. Mm-hmm. While we don't want to stereotype necessarily that population, it is said that 80% of the homelessness here in Spokane, have some sort of drug problem or addiction problem. So maybe that's something that needs to be considered more heavily.
Absolutely. Instead of looking at, and I'm just looking statewide, opening injection sites, maybe we should look at the opioid crisis as a whole and as a whole body. So what we did is we passed a mental health reform bill to open more beds up, to make sure people can have the access that they need. And this was needed from the beginning. This is bipartisan effort. This is something that we all came together and said, this is a priority. And we made it a priority. And so we are looking at increasing hospital accessibility, increasing residents, and making that one-on-one available for the individual who needs the assistance. Okay. And so when we talk about homelessness, we also have to talk about building. And so this is another aspect of the problem. I mean, are these young families going to be able to purchase a home? Are you going to be able to get into a starter home? And that's really what we need to look at. Is there available property being built? Is it easy? Is it accessible? And so there's a broad, comprehensive issue when we talk about homelessness.
All right, Jacquelin, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We enjoyed having you. And when we come back, we are going to hear from a very special guest from the True Variety Show. We'll be right back.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Welcome to a new kind of talk show, Spokane Talks, where you find news, views, and conversations that include respect for opinions, facts, and diversity.
Spokane Talks, Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Fox 28.
O'Brien Logistics would like to invite you to try our local and regional transportation services. With Sprinter vans, lift gates, hot shot flatbeds, and expedited services, our people are ready to step in and help with your transportation needs. Our services are 24/7, 365, and we are trained and prepared to handle air cargo and Canadian shipments. Give us a call at 208-305-2311 or visit our website at o'brienlogistics.net. That's OBRIEN logistics.net.
Okay, and we are back, and we're having kind of a height issue here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Let's show them. Yeah, so I'm standing, on this bench, and you're really tall. Let's have a seat. Let's chat about this.
All right. Well, do you mind if I sit on the back? Because if I sit down too far, it's hard for me to get back up.
Okay, yes, that's great. So tell us a little bit about this. Why are you so tall?
Well, my mother was a conifer.
Okay.
Yeah, and my dad was a redwood. They're tree spirits.
They're tree spirits.
They're really good at the forest. And I'm not really sure why it turned out so weird and human looking, but it's a It's not really a problem. Like, I'm really good at some stuff, like getting stuff off the top shelf.
Oh, yes,
And,
for sure.
Creating bridges for people across expanses of water.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us your name.
My name is Amelia Peaceheart. I usually present politicians.
Okay.
But today I'm presenting somebody else. I'm presenting a presenter.
Presenting a presenter.
Yes,
I love
I
it.
am.
Well, nice to meet you, Amelia.
Nice to meet you,
And,
too.
you know, you perform at the True Variety Show, right?
Well, nobody has yet performed at the True Variety Show, Collin, and I'll tell you why this is the first summer that it is being performed.
Really? And where's the True Variety Show going to take place? Tell us about this.
Well, I don't know if you've ever been to the Rockin' Ranch Cowboy Supper Show out there at State Line, exit 299.
I haven't.
Collin. Well, how do you feel about barbecue?
Oh, I love barbecue.
And how do you feel about cowboys?
Love it.
Okay, good.
Sure.
All right, there's really no reason that you shouldn't come then.
Yeah, I'm there. Okay.
Mhm.
When is this going to be?
Last weekend of every month is
Okay.
when the cowboy show happens.
Okay.
And then the Sunday before that weekend is when the True Variety Show happens.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you're going to be performing, huh?
Maybe, you know, if Olivia wants me on the docket, she tries to get different people every time.
That's great.
So,
That's great.
10 performers a night.
Okay.
And a live painter.
Okay.
And a live house band.
Ooh.
It's family friendly, man.
Yeah.
There's going to be dessert and coffee.
That's great. And
It's-
how much is this?
Oh, it's $20,
Okay.
Collin. But I'll tell you what, if you ride your bike to the show, they give you a $5 discount because they're really into the environment.
I love that. That's great. And you said coffee and desserts included in the $20?
Sure is.
And
yeah.
the show?
And the show.
That's great. And so what other things are we going to see in the show? What can we
Well-
expect? Can you give us a hint?
I know that you're wondering why it's called the True Variety Show,
Yeah.
right? So it's going to be, you know, your regular variety show fare, like the jugglers and the circus acts
Okay.
and the musicians and comedians. But then you're also going to have people in the community who really know how to do things like tie knots
Oh.
and wrap metal around wheels and do all sorts of things that are really useful but have been separated from art forms. So
Right.
it's kind of drawing in all these philosophical ideas that form and function shouldn't be separate.
And is this just going to be a summer thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mhm.
it'll be the last weekend of every month, June, July.
That's the cowboy show.
Oh, that's
the
the
Rockin'
cowboy
Ranch
show.
Cowboy Supper Show.
Okay.
But the Sunday before
before.
the Rockin' Ranch Cowboy Supper Show. So just to put it in black
Gotcha.
and white terms, it's June 23rd, July 21st, August 25th, and September 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and just $20.
$20.
You get a $5 discount if you're bringing your bike.
If you ride your bike all the way to the show.
Okay, and any other hints you can give us?
Be sure to be prepared to write insights and really special thoughts and drawings on your butcher paper tablecloth with the
Really?
crayons that are provided.
All right.
Because what happens with those, I'll give you a hint, they rip them off the tablecloth at the end of the night and roll them up and stick them in recycled bottles and sell them for $1 at the next show so you can get other people's insights from what they learned at the show.
Interesting. I love it. I love it. Amelia, thanks for telling us about the True Variety Show.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Collin.
Nice to meet you.
Really great to meet you. I love your show.
Oh.
Spokane Talks is such a great service to the Spokane community,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. And that's all for Amelia. We hope you'll check out the True Variety Show sometime this summer. And when we come back, we're going to take a look at Bonnie and Clyde at Spokane Falls Community College. Stay with us.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and a description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Hey, welcome back. So Spokane Falls Community College is putting on the musical Bonnie and Clyde, and I'm here with the director, Ashley DeMoville, and Bonnie, Jennifer Tyndall. And so Ashley, tell us a little bit about the musical itself, because this is a newer work in the last 10 years. So tell us about the story, and why did you decide to do this show?
Well, I have to say, I have been listening to the soundtrack in my car since 2011.
Okay.
Not constantly,
sure.
On and off. And I've been wanting to direct it since 2011. So
Wow.
It's been on the top of my list for a long time. And that's because the music is so amazing. It's really strong emotions in the music, which all musicals are, but this is more gritty than a lot of musicals tend to be. It doesn't just look at the happy side of life and get you kind of glowing and celebrating life. It gets you looking at the grit and some of the really kind of cruddy things that happen to people.
And especially now, a trend on Broadway is to kind of have some of these over theatricalized shows. And so I'm guessing that Bonnie and Clyde isn't that.
No, there are moments that are pretty, very much Broadway.
Sure.
But the story itself, we follow Bonnie and Clyde, and I think most people know who they are. But for anyone who doesn't, they're these two really notorious thieves that fell in love around 1930, and then went on this crime spree. And it took years for the cops to be able to bring them down because they just couldn't catch them. They ended up killing, I think, 13 people over that time.
Wow.
What was astounding about it is that the country fell in love with them. They were viewed as heroes. People were literally asking for their autographs while they were being robbed. So,
and isn't that interesting? Because that sort of kind of dynamic, that situation today, probably wouldn't occur. And so you play Bonnie, Jennifer. So tell us a little bit about what playing that character has been like for you, especially probably not a role you typically play, right?
No, not at all. It's interesting because she's the star of the show, but you also are not on her side morally in what she's doing with Clyde. But you also, I think the show brings out the human side of her that shows you how she got to where she is.
Sure.
And why she made the choices she did, especially in the Great Depression, and based on her past love experiences. She was married at 15.
Wow.
And her husband went to jail and then never wanted anything to do with her again. And that was just her idea of what a man was. And then she meets Clyde, who has all these big dreams like she does. She wants to be an actress. She wants all the people to look at her and dress like her and get their hair done like her. And she gets what she wants.
Right.
She just gets it not in the most morally correct way.
Sure.
And the thing is that it's sad what they did, but they still got what they want. There's a musical about them today.
Right.
And that's
kind of a
astonishing.
testament. Yeah. And, obviously, since they are thieves, I would imagine there's probably a lot of scenic elements. They're probably in many different places, I would imagine, over the course of the show. So what was that like, scenically, to put this show together?
Well, the play, I think, while you're talking about trends in Broadway, is very fast-moving. It's not written for big unit sets that come in and out and give you the full picture of location.
Sure.
Instead, there's these multi-use spaces, and then it's written to use quite a bit of projection. And we've actually taken that and run with it even further than they did in Broadway.
Wow.
I've been working with a media designer for months, creating the projections, and we get to see a lot of photos of the actual Bonnie and Clyde, their actual parents, newspapers from the time. So it always keeps the audience, on one hand, emotionally connected with these characters we see on stage,
but visually engaged.
Visually engaged, and separated enough to realize this is real. That person that this actor just pretended to shoot actually died.
Right.
Actually bled to death in a shopping center, in a grocery store. That cop that just fell on the floor as though he's dead actually died. He actually left a family behind. And so I think that dynamic works really well in this show.
And I think for a lot of young people today, I hear, constantly, theater isn't for me. And I notice a pull, and I'm very involved in theater, but getting kind of a younger audience to come to theater, it's like, oh, that isn't for me, that's not my thing. What do you say to those people? Because it doesn't have to be their thing for them to come see a show, right?
I actually have a story.
Okay.
I was talking to another faculty member at the college who forced his students to come. Well, he offered them lots of extra credit to come.
Okay.
And so, and they had class today, and they were talking about who had seen the show, and they were all kind of speechless. And one young lady in particular said, you know, I've been in a show in high school, but I've never really seen theater much. And I was astounded by how emotionally engaged I got. I was crying in the audience. I don't cry when I watch movies. I don't feel that level of emotion when I watch movies. And I didn't realize it was possible to feel that in theater. Right. And she said that she left, she was just giddy. She just loved the show so much. And I've overheard lots of students in the audience doing the same thing.
That gives me goosebumps.
It really did. I have to tell you, the opening night going into intermission, there was this kind of final big number, and there were people who like yelped in the audience. And then I walked out, I opened the doors, and I heard a couple other kids walk past me, and they were giddy and they were giggling, and they said, I just don't know, I am so in love with the show. I have never felt this way about a show before.
That's awesome. And you know, so this is being performed at the Spartan Theater.
No, it is not, actually.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
No. It is being produced by the Spartan Theater.
Okay.
That's our right.
Right.
But the actual physical Spartan Theater is under renovation right now. We're getting all new rigging. We're getting new curtains.
That's exciting.
Amazing. And we're actually performing this in the Music Auditorium, which is this huge, gorgeous 600-seat house on campus still, right? The building right next to the Spartan.
Okay. And so what's it been like in that space then? Because now you're not in a space that you're probably used to performing your shows in, and that's a whole nother challenge.
It has been amazing, and it has been incredibly challenging.
I'm sure.
Because we're sharing the space with a number of other groups.
Right.
They have their spring concerts all next week.
Okay.
So we have the whole set has been created. It was designed to be taken down every single night.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So that's been a really huge challenge. And then working with their light plot that is set up for their things that we can't interfere with.
Right.
So it's been amazing. But on the other hand, they have a pit that sinks into the floor, so we can have our live band in the pit. And they have a sound system. I was able to get wireless mics for everybody. So
that's great.
Brings
Great
it to a
sound.
whole new level.
Absolutely. So where can people get tickets? Because I know this is a very popular thing that people are going to want to see. And you only have 2 shows left, right?
Only 2 left. So the easiest way to get tickets is to go to either our Facebook page or the SFCC drama page.
Okay.
And there's a link to get tickets on Vendini.
Okay, great. Ashley, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing it this weekend. And we hope you'll check out Bonnie and Clyde at Spokane Falls Community College, not in the Spartan Theater. And when we come back, actually, you guys were our 3rd guest today. That's it. That's it. Time flew by. We hope you've enjoyed the Pulse of Spokane, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
The Pulse of Spokane is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksMedia.com, which is solely responsible for its content. The Pulse of Spokane is brought to you in part by Homes for You, Well-Dressed Walrus, and Spokane Firefighters Local 29. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or hear this program again on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com.